थोड़े से रह गया. Almost Adam, almost. Hi हर्षित भाई, how are you? नहीं कर रहा है. हाँ. Helpful. Full तो नहीं. Okay, let me get some SP now. Okay, they're coming for me. I need to get my level 2. उसने हिल चेक करा. Here comes warlord. I missed. उसने प्लांट करा क्या? मैं चेक नहीं करा. Net is not working. Okay. Yeah, he has put down the observer. I don't have money.
Middle is missing.
I had to walk all the way.
Ice advances. Doubly so. My ice grows fireband. Yes. Fired up. We ride. Forward. Ready. The freezing flame.
अपने यार दिमाग खराब कर रखा है मेरा.
Take that. We strike. Ours now. Dragon's rage. Yes.
Nice.
Believe this.
I was practicing my backstroke.
Hey, बहुत सही टाइम पे आएगा और आइस पैक नहीं तो मरते.
Own it.
अबे I missed.
Shall we? After you. The enemy's top tower has fallen. Forward.
I'm gonna quickly make some stacks.
We blow hot and cold. They're trying to break your middle tower. Dragon's rage. Dragon fire.
Your middle tower is under attack. If the beacon goes out,
Double trouble. Fireband.
करते हैं.
Sky. Embrace us.
ये भी सही है. Sniper getting kills. But I know where the wards are.
Freeze and burn. Middle is busy. Fortified their structures. Attack the heroes.
I'm making war back. तो उनके पास क्योंकि सारा burst damage है तो इससे कम हो जाएगा. Okay. Okay.
There goes the enemy's bottom tower.
There she goes.
Pickaxe before
Your
I do.
middle tower is taking a drubbing.
दूसरा से क्या चल रहा है? दूसरा क्या चल रहा है दोस्त? एक और स्टैक्स बना के अगर इन्होंने नहीं लिया तो मैं ही ले लूंगा. War pack और thieves को आइटम बनाऊं.
Your middle tower is under attack.
You and I missed.
Help your bottom tower. The flame returns. Vanished, but not gone. Embrace us.
चलो. अबे I need to make war pack too.
Your middle tower is under attack. And burn.
They're trying to break your middle tower. Something bad is happening to your top tower.
Your top tower is
Tower
under
logo,
attack.
tower logo, tower logo.
Douse those fires.
Void infused. You're enemy's mid tower down.
Another bulwark falls.
They're in rough waters now.
Your middle tower is under attack. Radiant structures are fortified.
Mm.
Your middle tower has been denied.
Ice advances.
Shall we?
After you.
We ride the updrafts.
उनका टॉप कैंप भी भागती है.
Scalding cold. I amplify my impact. Fired up.
Shall we?
After you.
Ice and fire.
Your top tower.
Use your words. Your top tower is a sword in a storm.
Power, 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 power.
Fired up. Dragon fire. Fireband. The freezing flame.
Silence.
Yes. By thrust.
I think we can chase.
Ready. With twinned nature. We blow hot and cold.
मैं उसके हुक के सामने आ गया यार। मैं उस बंदे के हुक के सामने आ गया। That this game you need philosopher's stone उसी गेम नहीं गिरता है। It would have been so easier for me to get the item.
Time to get your head above water.
Throw some gills. Freeze and burn. Forward.
Did you notice they're attacking your bottom tower?
Yes. Your bottom tower advances.
Very nice man.
Ways about it. Placed on my path for this reason. Drafted. We ride the updrafts. Dragon's breath. Sky, embrace us. Ready.
Oh, I need
Twin attack. Dragon's rage. Lovely. Shall we? After you. Ice and fire. Invisibility. Fireband. My flames grow hotter. Scalding Dragon's rage.
lead the
The skies are ours. No two ways about it.
ओके यहाँ विजन है। I got Valdemir ready.
Dire structures are fortified.
Radiant structures are fortified.
Flight resumes. Freeze and burn.
Yeah.
Something bad is happening to
Hi
your
Luffy bro.
Is
दूसरा है दूसरा डिफेंड कर लेगी टॉप तो
something bad is happening to your top tower.
अरे आई थिंक टॉप पे ही है उनके
And we're underway.
I want to put a ward over here. हजार गोल्ड और मिड से उसने टॉप क्यों टीपी करा है भाई मैं बहुत अच्छा हूँ तू सुना तू कैसा है यार मेरे और वो दोनों साथ नहीं पढ़ रहे मैं हो पाया रोस्तान ओ अरे नाइस 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 मैं ये नई आइटम ट्राई कर रहा हूँ पता है आज आई एम मेकिंग वॉर पैक 700 गोल्ड और उन पे सारा बर्स्ट डैमेज है, तो लेट्स सी कैसा रहता है। मैंने ट्राई नहीं करा ये आइटम कभी।
Your top tower is under attack.
Your top tower has fallen.
The enemy's bottom tower just keeled over. What's this? Dire fortified their structures? Your top tower is under attack.
Something bad is happening to your top tower.
I'll plant a ward here.
Ice and fire. Doubly so. You're scalding cold. No two ways about it. The freezing flame. We go. Your bottom tower is under attack.
Radiant structures are fortified. Did you notice they're attacking your
War pact is ready. Going for Greaves now.
Help your bottom tower. To the depths with your bottom tower. Ready.
क्या कहता है, स्टैट्स बना के मैं ही खा जाऊं?
Did you notice they're attacking your bottom tower?
Ice advances.
मैं आइटम तक नहीं पॉप कर पाया यार ये। If we get a jump, then we win a fight. If they get a jump, they win a fight. तो हमें उसका एक ध्यान रखना पड़ेगा बहुत ज़्यादा।
Radiant structures are fortified.
Help your bottom tower. Your bottom tower is under attack. Back from the maelstrom. Your bottom tower is under attack. Help your bottom tower. Your bottom tower has fallen. Bottoms up. With twinned
Phantom is dead. रुक जाओ, फिर तो बनाता हूँ मैं, स्टैक्स बना के खाता है। हम अपना ग्रीव्स भी ऑनलाइन लेके आएंगे।
the skies are ours.
Monkey. Hmm. Unfortunately, we have to go high ground now. We'll get more stuff online first. I think ये आइटम भी अच्छा है.
Rise from the ashes. Ice advances.
Did you notice they're attacking your bottom tower?
दूसरा.
Your middle tower is under attack.
It's time to figure out which team I'm on and join that one.
Say goodbye to your bottom tower.
They're trying to break your middle tower.
Bottom barracks are lost at
Look
sea.
who's talking. Your middle tower just went hard over. Your middle barracks have fallen.
हाँ. हमारे को हमारी डूसा बचानी पड़ेगी यार. डूसा सीधा मर नहीं सकती.
Something bad is happening to your top tower. Your top tower just got sent to the bottom.
Come up with that on your own.
Ice and fire. Freeze and burn. Ready.
That is live.
Fired up. We fly.
रोज तो नहीं का है.
With twinned nature. Roshan has fallen to the dire. We fly.
हाँ यार, डूसा बहुत बुरा मरी है. इवन दो डूसा फार्म्ड है अपना. भाई मेरे वॉर पैक्ट के बाद उसको रैम्पेज मिला है भाई, वॉर पैक्ट के बाद, जबकि उनका डैमेज कम हो रहा है, वो बर्स्ट नहीं कर पा रहे हैं अपने को। डूड
Just went hard over. What he said. Your ancient is under attack.
हाँ है तो भाई नूब डूसा अच्छा खासा फार्म हुआ है, पूरा फार्म है भाई डूसा पे। डूसा नॉन फ्री फार्म कर हमारा डूसा यार एक तरीके से, जबकि उनके फैंटम को फ्री फार्म नहीं करने दिया था मैं, उनकी तरफ के कैंप ब्लॉक थे यार। अच्छी खासी तो आइटम्स बना रखी हैं डूसा ने। डेडुलस की जगह बीके भी जा सकती थी, बच जाता, और या शार्ड बना लेता, सेप्टर बना लेता, तो ये गेम में रह सकता था। फॉर्टूनस टन नहीं था ना, अगर ये सेप्टर उठा ले, वो उठा लेता अपना शार्ड भी, टन स्टून गिरता रहता भाई बार 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 बार। कोई नहीं, बस 1 घंटे के अंदर ओजी वर्सेस उनका मैच भी स्टार्ट है। 3:30 बजे, 2:30 बजे है, 1 सेकेंड, 3:30 बजे ना बीट बूम और ओजी का मैच। वो देखेंगे उस टाइम आराम से। 3:30 का टाइम लिखा है ना यहाँ पे। एजी वर्सेस बी स्कोर्स भी है सेम टाइम। तीन गेम है भाई एक टाइम पे, ये भी है। E1 वर्सेस प्रो। खेल रहा है अब एक गेम।
Your turn to ban. 5 seconds remaining.
हम्म
10 seconds remaining. Your turn to pick.
यार ये ऑफलाइन रिकी क्या मेटा है भाई, व्हाट इज दिस ऑफलाइन रिकी। नो आइडिया भाई क्या खेल दिया जाता। वो कैरी है उनका। चलो मेरा वाला बिल्ड जाएंगे। ठीक है। ट्रॉफी सेक्सी ट्रोल आ रहे रे। थैंक यू थैंक यू थैंक यू। क्या मुझे ट्रोल का ना वो नहीं मिला चेस्ट वाला। मेरे को वो चाहिए वो इमॉर्टल चेस्ट है ना ट्रोल की।
Let's do this. Aghast. My steel shall drink. My axe's thirst.
आर्ट्स मेरे लिए अच्छा है।
It's in
अमन
the
भी मेरे लिए अच्छा है।
bag.
ट्रियन टीपी
Ready
करा।
for battle. There are no
ट्रियन टीपी करा ट्रियन टीपी करा तो ट्रियन करो। हाँ करने की कोशिश कर रहा है।
trolling for victims. They'll rue the day. The bell tolls for the Lord of Trolls. Yes.
They're against LC and NP I think।
Faster. Faster.
हाँ।
Don't cross my
Wait, what?
Here's axe in your eye. More like it. Murderous. I hear sniveling. Yes.
What a few lasted।
My axe.
अरे भाई ये भी बढ़िया है मैं तो डिफॉल्ट लगे। अच्छा। मैं सोच रहा हूँ कि जब 1K सब्सक्राइबर्स हिट होंगे ना तो एक गिव अवे करते हैं उस टाइम पे। भाई मेरा मानो ऑलमोस्ट वापस।
first blood, and a point well taken.
They'll rue the day. These blades are too faster, faster. Have at them. Attack.
That was weird. उसने अपने लिए ही मुश्किल कर दी. Lol.
To the massacre. No agony enough. My steel shall drink. Hate warms me. Don't cross my path. Feel my blade. Radiant's courier has been killed. Feed the demons. Trolling for victims. I peel back your arteries.
आजा 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 आजा.
To the massacre. Die faster.
NP miss है.
My
Eesh.
steel corners. That's it. My steel shall drink. I peel back your arteries.
उसने पुश कर दिया रे.
After your middle tower. They'll rue the day. There are no hits. Feed my blade. Don't cross my deepest sympathies. Not. Guttural spray.
चलो बढ़िया 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 बढ़िया. But the way back.
Please do feed the children.
Bottom में कुछ चल रहा है.
Radiant structures are fortified.
तो मैं 45 भी कर रहा हूँ. I think this is-
I wouldn't want to be in that middle tower as it will. Just got no agony enough.
आने that.
Your middle tower is under attack. Be quick about it. The middle tower is under attack. Trolling for victim. You deserve it. These blades are too dry. My axe is thirst. Yes.
Time for pushing the waves and jungle.
Feed my blade. Attack! Please, do feed the trolls.
Respawn हुआ.
The ultimate intro. There are no innocents. Double duty. I peel back your ugly.
Hey, my favorite wave.
Displaying their usual lack of imagination, they're going straight for your middle tower. Attack! No second thoughts.
अबे well tried. I'll get this too. बस होने ही वाला है मेरा बैटल फ्यूरी भी. चैट कहते हैं मैं तो भाई आया 14-18 hours ड्यूटी डेली विद नो लीव्स. तो खेलना तो छोड़ो, देखना भी नसीब नहीं होता. अरे यार ये तो थोड़ा होता है भाई. व्हेन यू जिस प्रोफेशन में तू है ना हर्षित भाई, उसमें तो है. पर फिर पैसा भी तो उतना ही है तुम्हारे प्रोफेशन में. किस्मत नहीं है. अरे भाई वो कर देंगे ना फिक्स. तो टेंशन क्यों ले रहा है. फिक्स करेंगे फिक्स.
Your middle tower is under attack. Your middle tower is fallen.
इसको पता चलना है लूफी भाई कि कौन असलियत में जीता और नहीं जीता. फिक्स करेंगे फिक्स.
Radiant's
भाई बॉटम में कुछ तो चल रहा है। नो चल भाई 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 भाई, भाई, भाई।
Radiant has made it much harder to take down their structures. They're fortified.
ओ बच गए। उसने बहुत जल्दी पॉप कर दी, क्या नाम अपनी ब्लेड मेल। उसका ब्लेड मेल देखते ही मैं चला गया, चलो लड़ते हैं, मरने से तो राम है।
I'm sensing a particularly clever strategy. Radiant's courier is being killed. Be quick about it. The middle tower is under attack.
भाई थर्ड ट्राई भाई, थर्ड ट्राई। एलसी का वो थर्ड ट्राई था भाई, और मेरा ध्यान भी नहीं था कि एलसी मेरे ऊपर है, मैं मैप में कहीं और देख रहा हूँ। ओके आई एम डेड। टावर के नीचे पकड़ लिया उसने। ओके 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 ओके। अरे यार कोई शामन को बताओ, वो माना बोर्ड डिसेबल कर सकता है भाई, वो डिसेंबल। अरे मैं ना ट्री कट करने की कोशिश कर रहा उस टाइम, और मैं भूल गया कि मेरा ये इस वाले स्लॉट में रखा, और मैं की दबा रहा हूँ इस वाले स्लॉट, इस वाले स्लॉट। ऐसा भाई कट ही नहीं रहा, कट ही नहीं रहा। अब ट्रायंगल वगैरह का एरिया खेलेंगे। दूसरी वेव भी यही होनी चाहिए पास में।
Mine is truly a blessed life.
नहीं, जब तक ट्रोल की अल्टी चल रही है, जब तक इट्स लाइक अ बिग डिसेबल। इसलिए जो बीकेबी वगैरह होती है ना, वो तेरे को ट्रोल की अल्टी से पहले पॉप करनी पड़ती है, नहीं तो उसके बाद कोई फायदा नहीं है।
Look to the top tower. They're attacking. Oh no, the top tower. It's under attack.
Can I reach here on time so that I can start?
Look to the top tower. They're attacking.
And yes, I can.
Displaying their usual lack of imagination, they're going straight for your middle tower.
यार ये टॉप टावर निकालना पड़ेगा इनका।
I will rise next season.
Your top tower is under attack. The top tower is no more. Failure is the force of victory. Back at them.
जब बीच में अनंत ज्यादा खेलता था ना ट्रोल, मेरा इसकी उस पे हाथ सेट हो गया था। अगर तुम रेंज पे मारो और मारते मारते स्विच, उसने किसको अल्टी मारी? My BKB is out.
Hurry. We may save the bottom tower yet.
More like it. There are no innocents. Blades are too.
What a bounty!
Ooh. ओहो, चलो ठीक है।
Many graves hidden in these woods.
They've lost their middle tower to us.
Faster!
I'm closing in with my Shadow Blade as well.
There is nothing that can stop this man!
I hear sniveling.
Fortune's changed.
Steel shall don't cross my path.
मैं जिसके ऊपर चढ़ा वो बंदा डेड है।
These blades are too dry. They'll rue the day. My steel shall drink. Yes! A soldier's fortune.
Easy Roush. अबे शामन,
Your bottom tower is under attack.
बहुत जल्दी ब्लिकिंग कर दिया उसने।
Tower, or it will be lost. Dire structures are fortified. Now I see what they want. They're attacking the bottom tower.
Monster kill!
To the massacre.
ये टावर तो मैं अकेला ले रहा भाई।
My axe's thirst.
Last second,
Don't cross my path.
Superb, we've taken down their bottom tower.
My deepest
Let's go. ये tower be dead. Who's gonna stop me?
To the bottom tower. They've laid siege to it.
These blades are too
Protect the bottom tower, or it will be lost.
Oh, this is also a nice ability. Holding access. Yes, magic immunity. बना रहा हूँ उठा रहा हूँ मैं अपना ये भी उठा ही रहा हूँ बस टू के बाद सेप्टर उठाएंगे अबे उसके बाद भी मार अच्छा शामन ही तो था वो तो मर
make a fine humus.
There are no innocents. Feed my grave.
आई थिंक जब तक मैं टीयर 3 तक पहुंचेगा मैं निकाल देगा इनके सारे इसको who is pausing and why is pausing
Now back to it.
जैसे चाहिए नहीं मुझको तो मैं ले लेता हूँ
What they're up to. But it is rather interesting, isn't it?
Trolling for victims. My axes burst. There are no innocents.
चलो जी जी। सारा अच्छा खेला, आर्स अच्छा खेला, ये अच्छा खेला। रिकी को मैं नहीं करने वाला क्योंकि वो ऑफलाइन रिकी उठाया है। एलसी एम के भी क्यों बना रहा है यहाँ पे? रिकी चले स्मोक में मारेगा। आइटम तो कंप्लीट कर। आ जाओ गेम देखें, गेम स्टार्ट हुआ क्या उनका?
Did you notice how much space they have to give to Hawk just so his muscles will actually fit in the frame? It's great. We'll see what the draft has to show us though, because as you said, there's something they draft around. They promised us something special, something experimental against OG, probably the best team to do this. And we do have now the drafting UI on screen, and now the heroes have joined us as well.
There they go.
As BetBoom. They go with a Mars Visage. Yes, they're known for this Visage and MP a lot, which is of course why the MP does get banned. But another hero that they love to run is Notice to Mars, and also Force Majors. They actually flex this hero between, I would even say Laurel can play it, but that's less so. It's mostly the 4 and the 3. And it's just a fantastic hero in general, but for them specifically, because the way they utilize the Mars is much less about the old way of like, I spear someone, I kill them in the beginning of the fight, and more, I'm going to zone people out with the arena while the Hawk pushes your buildings or kill your supports. So it goes really well with the Hawk's playstyle.
Yeah, it's a very powerful counter initiation, one of the better ones in the game, and I like it as well versus the Razor quite a bit, right? Forcing the BKB just to get through the arena at the start of the fight kind of limits your mobility, kind of limits your team fight on the Razor, as that could be potentially very, very deadly for you as soon as you're out of that avatar. I want to quickly take a nod towards our first phase bans as well. With BetBoom, of course, taking out the Omar Timber, banning or picking the Mars themselves with that first pick, but also the Enigma, something that OG used yesterday. I think Taiga, quite the specialist on the hero.
Mars
so that was taken out. CK, very standard ban, and of course the Nature's Prophet, one of the Hawk's better heroes, does leave the
अब ये
Visage
गेम
in the
देखते हैं
pool,
थोड़ी देर।
which of course BetBoom are very eager to pick up.
Yeah.
OG needs to win
Like
this
the
game,
Razor
I
pick,
think.
like you mentioned
जैसे वो लोग
earlier, right,
वापस आ
the
सके।
Amar special, but the potential flex here, together as we mentioned with the Knicks, which has been a little bit of pick, not just OG values it, but other teams as well. Like I think we the S18 valued in the beginning of the tournament. We saw Liquid picking it up as well, and with this, you kind of cover what it would be a really weak laner on the Knicks, because Razor does allow you be able to run this combo. Of course, with the Razor against the Mars matchup, especially in the long lane, that's not really that great a matchup for the Razor. You kind of have to go for Plasma Field and try to kick him out. So it's not the impactful carry that you used to. We'll see how OG decides to run this. For now, BetBoom continues to ban potential offlaners. They do think that it's going to be a Uragi Razor or even BZM, honestly. The option is really open for them. And this is one of the few teams that also still runs the Razor as a first phase pick as well.
Yeah, especially because, again, like you were saying, it can go very much in the safe lane,
it's
right?
the
With
flex
the
that
faster
helps it.
power, the off lane, Amar is more than happy to take the hero as well. So it's certainly something that they can look to flex.
I know the hero is absolutely, or the idea of doing this is crazy, but I think if a team managed to do, because he's a very good flex for cores, right? You can put him in literally every core position, and the wonderful thing about Razor is that your battle plan does not change, right? If there was a team that could figure out how to do it as a support, like a 4, for example, like Kuro used to do with the Clinks, right? I think there'd be a huge value to this hero as an early flex, similar to how the DP works, right? Obviously, there's much less impact as a support because you have nothing but a slow on the possible field, but your laning is so good. Yeah, I'm just putting it out there. I think it'd be really interesting, and OG could be one of the teams to try that. But for now, they do pick up the second support in Winter Wyvern. Very, very good against the Visage because of, of course, that physical resistance.
Yes, my concern with this is specifically when the siege comes. We saw BetBoom, you know, the Hawk hang back, just being within range for the eventual AC. His auras, most importantly, the cloak aura, giving his birds the damage resist 80%. Nothing you really care about Splinter Blast there with that, right? No damage you care about. Because Wyvern much rather prefers being able to jump in after you go in, or forcing you up to high ground and then applying the curse to set up the team fight around you. With this kind of push we saw yesterday for BetBoom in their series, that wasn't really how BetBoom approached the siege. I think Wyvern is maybe not going to be best suited for this. It's going to have to be like an aggressive Blink Wyvern into the counter initiation of a Mars, and we'll see what BetBoom have. It's not the ideal position, but it does give you a lot of team fight around Roche, gives you a lot of mobility. Speaking of Roche, there's Shaman, right? So of course, BetBoom now have even more tower push as well with the Serpent Wards available.
Interesting pick of the Shaman, because usually we've seen this a lot as a protection against Storm. Maybe they think that could be coming out here for OG. They are Radiant though, but with Visage, you don't really need the wards necessarily to go and kill the Roche. You have a lot of options regardless, right? So I do think that Shaman is not necessarily the all Roche taker that we love. He's okay against the Nyx as well. There's a lot of ways to cancel that Shackles. The Razor can kill you kind of easily. The T1 guys are so cool that we're gonna see them on stream as well.
Yeah,
as they draft.
I suppose so.
I mean, today we just get to see a glimpse of all the teams playing right now, right? That's what's cool about this stream.
If you don't want to catch T1, or over on the C stream, twitch.tv/ESL.
Yeah, on the C stream.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, but B in the B stream stands for bring everybody in here.
Yes.
Yeah.
B
stream, best stream.
Best
There, we even have the
absolutely.
Tundra.
We got the
go.
BetBoom stream. Yes, as that's Snay, isn't that right?
Yeah, Snake. Yeah.
There we go.
It sucks as well. We're gonna get the Scarlet Mage now picked up for BetBoom. So this is a Shadow Shaman 5, most likely, I'd say. Interesting combination. The Scarlet Mage definitely very enabled this game. Obviously, you play around the Mystic Flare. You combine this with the Shackles here on the Shaman and the Spear. So you have two good targets to be able to burst people down, and a great punish for that Winter Wyvern. The Nyx Assassin can be a bit of a nuisance. Concussive Shot and Mystic Flare are both kind of uncontrollable damage. He can stun you and quickly kill you with a Mana Burn as well.
Oh, yeah.
But honestly, Nyx counters a lot of the heroes you want to pick in general. That's why he's such a solid first pick. You are going to pick a hero that's going to be countered by Nyx eventually.
Yep. Yeah, but the silence and of course the movement speed slope being percentage versus a Razor is especially punishing when he wants to go in aggressively. And as you say, the kill threat of just Spear or Shackles Hexes is very high. These are definitely two supports that rotate mid, throw in maybe one spell, just simply get off a Hex and could really get a kill quite easily for whatever BetBoom end up throwing into the mid lane, which I don't think we've seen yet. It very well could be Laurel mid lane Mars, right? But
I'm leaning towards the noticed Mars right now, because if you also have noticed like Mars plus Skyrath, if they run Razor carry, Mars is one of the better heroes. Oh, actually the only melee hero, I think. Plus it's Pango that can deal with him. Razor still wins the lane as he usually does, but less so than he would against say a Tide. We'll see what OG decides to run here though, because they have to start defining their cores. And the first position Razor will not be going in is the carry lane.
Yeah, okay. It's going to be the Wraith King. Of course, still that faster activation, that timing on the Armlet's Blink Deso, right? Usually it's going to be the go time. Tends to do well against these kind of, you know, I hold you down and nuke you with a big spell. Oh no, Wraith King comes back with a second life. He's got BKB, he jumps us, and things get really, really difficult in the fight after that reincarnation. 60-second cooldown now on that thing, though, as compared to 40 seconds. So some teams have shied away from the hero, as it does leave him a little bit of a less annoyance in the hyper late game, right? But he's still quite strong. He can definitely play with Razor's timings as well, and he can utilize the vision that the Nyx Assassin gives him to just jump, ideally, this Shaman or the Skyrath Mage and blow them up with literally one crit.
Yep. The beauty of the Wraith King in this game, of course, as you said, is the covering against these burst damage lineups. You do have a fair amount of sustained damage afterwards, though. With the Mars Arena and the Visage in general, they have a lot of ways of just continuing the fight. But of course, this nullifies a lot of the impact that the two supports want to get. So they're going to have to play a little bit more creatively against the Wraith King. In fact, the counter initiation on OG is really high. Nyx is one of the best counter initiators. So is the Winter Wyvern. Now the Wraith King with Reincarnation. OG has a lot of ways to, quote-unquote, make mistakes and then get away with it regardless. As we'll see what their final pick is, because even though they have a lot of counter initiation, one of the issues with these kind of lineups where you have just a bunch of ways to respond is that you have no way to actually initiate. Like, Nyx is okay-ish, Wraith can jump in and you can bait it out. Like, Razor same, right? But if the enemy team starts getting tempo, it's difficult for you to get it back. And in fact, it's difficult for you to set tempo in the game to begin with.
That's true. And that's why I kind of like this BetBoom lineup, because OG very much want to bring the fight here. Nyx to give vision, but as you say, he's not the best to go first in. Maybe like at level 6 to 8 for Nyx. Vendetta into Impale is good, but very quickly that falls off. And very quickly, they have a bunch of sentries up, and it just becomes impossible, basically, for him. So yeah, I think he is the vision player. And then you have this Wraith King jump in. You have Razor go in with a link into the curse, and that's how it's, I think, supposed to look for OG. That's the OG Dota we all know and love. But BetBoom are drafting very well around this, right? Visage with Ags can fly over the cliffs. That's super annoying for these kind of run-at-you lineups. Shaman can just hex one hero, shackle another. Everyone else from BetBoom runs away, leaves him to die. That's OG maybe popping a big spell, right? He's not like the best smoke breaker in the game, like a Treant or an Abba, but he's pretty good at just making delaying exactly. And that's, I think, something that really it comes into handy in these big team fights, in these brawls, especially on land, when teams, they feel the pressure. They're kind of doing the mental math and thinking, what have they used? Are they ready to fight? Can we re-engage? Does our support have a buyback? You know, these things all make the difference when you're fighting around major objectives like Roche, as there's the Laurel Puck.
And so what Richie was talking about, you know, more exemplified here. You want heroes that can avoid these ganks. You already have the ability to sacrifice your supports, which they will be because they're kind of all-in supports. And then your cores can get away. And this is why these run-at-you lineups have become weaker and weaker, because you just essentially need incredible positioning to be able to make this work. However, if OG could pick a little bit more initiation here, they still have some options. They could actually be able to come together and make it so their team fight is just too high for BetBoom to deal with. I'm assuming they lean a mid laner. I would like to see the Razor in the off lane.
I agree with that. And they will go with the Ember. I was going to suggest the Ember, actually. As we'll see who locks in what, just in case you're not up to date. Ember mid for BZM.
What is fantastic about this is that Ember is certainly an initiator, but a very low commitment initiator, so it works great with counter initiation lineups, because oftentimes when you find yourself out of position, like Wraith King or Razor ran in forward and you don't have Winter Wyvern nearby, all of a sudden you lose half your initiation, right? It's kind of bad. So the poking and prodding of BZM allows you to utilize the Nyx vision really well, allows you to actually get vision yourself with a sleight of fist, and on top of that, you're capable of doing things like just testing the waters, seeing what BetBoom wants to do. The more resources BetBoom commit in the beginning of the fight, the easier it is for you to take it. So I do like both lineups. I actually think OG did a really good answer to what BetBoom's usual running gun style is.
Okay. I'm going to go up to bat for BetBoom personally. I agree. I think anytime you pick a Spirit into a Hex, you're always kind of rolling the dice here, especially because not only do they have the Hex, Avo, they can follow up with the Ancient Seal, amping the magic damage of the Hawk Visage, amping the Puck's damage, which I think Laurel does like to go for the Switchblade build. So that's going to be very punishing, right? Even if they did end up buffing that Flame Guard a little bit. Speaking of buffs, we don't have any buffer for the Ember Spirit. You know, there's no, I don't know, Ogre, not a good example, but Coddle especially, right, is one we always see with this guy. And again, just the poke and prod. I don't know if Ember's going to quite give you enough catch. Maybe something else like a Kunkka or something would have been a bit better, but it's what OG have picked here, and I think really a lot relies on Seb getting good curses in these fights, because that's their biggest control. The curses have to be on point. Big problem, though, is that BetBoom plays perfectly around these big team fight ultis. We saw that in our first series yesterday, didn't we? Yeah. One of the issues the Ember's going to face, of course, is the amount of stuns on the enemy team, the instant stuns as well, and as you said, and that is going to... Like, it is a good Ember game for your draft. It might not be the best Ember game overall, right? And that's one of the issues when you play, like, especially a mid lane or any sort of protagonist role, particularly the mid and the safe lane. When you feel really countered, that pressure can get to players quite easily. So we'll see if the young ones are actually going to crumble under it, or if their passion will lead them through. part. And yeah, it can be a bit frustrating, right? When you're trying to play this kind of run at you lineup and enemies just
Have
kind
Hex.
of, they have Hex, their puck gets away, Visage flies over a wall, Mars blinks back, and you just get like a crappy shaman. Like it can be a bit, and he buys back anyway for the Roche fight. So definitely a big test of the patience. And I think that's where it helps to have these more experienced players, right? Being able to kind of, you know, ease the tensions and say, okay, boys, we go in now here. As speaking of going in, Noticed is quite eager to check for a ward. He wants scout one there. That's why this ward placement quite key. As if he did scout him here, the tower would have attacked him and they would have known there was vision, and that ward's probably gone. Taiga is going to be able to scout the observer that was placed early. Puck, one of the best heroes, other than maybe Earth Spirit, at planting early wards mid. Hard to really beat those. So Neko will make a play here for the bounty. 3 heroes ready to fight him, though. And with brown boots, Neko will get off to safety.
Yeah, Amar's positioning, I think, is going to be also very key for OG's engagement, because you don't really have any vision. I guess Nyx can be that person, right, to a degree, but I do feel like Taiga has to do a lot in the team fights, as he also gets shackled.
He took first point here. Yeah, in the soul assumption, which means he's going to try for first blood. He needs a little bit of vision. No, he's not going to be able to get that kill.
Yep.
2 stick charges there probably would have saved him, to be honest. And Neko is giving chase, but no brown boots on Taiga, but the nice stun there will get him out of trouble.
He does have a good regen and good armor. Usually, Nyx is a great at tanking ganks early. But yeah, I think eventually it's going to be Amar's positioning that makes the key difference in engagement. Because run at you lineups, you have to be able to determine when is the right time to run at them, and Razor is the key component to this. You don't have enough catch. Like you said, it's just a Winter's Curse, really. You don't have enough catch to be able to make this work. So especially in the early mid game, before Wraithing becomes online, as they also kill Taiga, you're going to need Amar to fulfill that role.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think this is a bit of a different build from Dahak. Does he usually go dual null talisman? Am I a little bit crazy here?
I don't think so. I usually saw him just rushing the drums as soon as possible.
I agree. I feel like I've seen a little bit of stats, but mostly just agreed the drums or whatever stat item he feels like going for. So that's maybe slightly interesting here. We'll see how he continues to develop on the build, but for right now, it seems like it's dual null talisman. I wonder if he just wants to be ready to fight early into this Amar BKB timing. Soul Assumption is going to allow the Visage to do a little bit more damage, even with that second value point in these fights, given the amount of high damage. I mean, there's so much splash damage here for OG, right? Ember, Sleight of Fist, Razor always doing damage, so it becomes a very spammable spell, much to Amar's bemusement. He's not a fan.
No, it's a tough lane for Razor. You can tell by the fact he went Puzzle Field level 1. He's actually saving the second point, because is there even a use of Static Link in this lane? You gotta get it eventually, but there's really no good target. Shaman's a terrible target for Static Link as well.
Yeah, and especially with brown boots, right? He's even faster than you for now, as he does cancel the healing self. So the second self forced for OG in this bottom lane. Still a third one, though, for Taiga. As a gracious support, making sure that Amar on the electric Zappy boy is going to be able to get off. I wonder what Amar calls him. He must have a name for him.
What, for Taiga?
Yeah, no, for Razor, right? Because he calls Huskar Sacred Warrior.
Right. Razor? I think Razor's always been Razor.
That's true.
So, I don't know. I mean, in Dota 1, we always called him Razor. I don't even know what the other thing is. The Revenant? I think it's Razor the Revenant. Or the Storm Revenant? Or the, Gillette? Not sure. He used to be called Gillette. You know he was almost sponsored in Dota 1?
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he was almost called Gillette.
That's funny.
Yeah, because they actually wanted to sponsor the Razor hero. But that was actually the guy who eventually made League, and you're like, that's why we have the better game.
Fascinating. Yeah, a little bit of history. UrAgi, of course, very keen to get that build up in the armlet in the top lane. Helps against the physical harass out from Noticed. And Seb making good use, making good use of the Arctic Burn. Did get its flight duration increased by 2 seconds. That's not the debuff duration. That would be very strong.
Yes.
But the flight is still very good. Allows you to play the dead lane a lot better, a lot easier. You can just fly over the walls and save yourself a lot. That could be the difference maker here. Seb getting the farm for Blink Dagger and really making these clutch initiations for OG.
Yeah, certainly Winter Wyvern has a much... Oh, as Taiga dies, by the way. They killed him with the Soul Assumption there once again from the Hawk. That single level, always so powerful. And they certainly increased the Winter Wyvern's laning from absolute hot trash to, okay, kind of acceptable sometimes. But when you're up against Skyreth Mage and Mars, I mean, this lane's just too strong, right? You need to harass a little bit, and he's actually covering UrAgi pretty decently, but we're already seeing a win by Mars, which is expected. There's not much you can do. You can, okay, get the Arctic Burn occasionally, but the constant barrage of Arcane Bolts is still going to annoy UrAgi. And because you also have kill potential unnoticed, it's super difficult to play this kind of lane. You have harassment to bring him down low, and the moment that you want to go for a last hit, you're like at half HP, you don't know if Notice will just spear you back, and you'll die.
Yep. And I just want to briefly talk about this bottom lane. It's not the pairing I thought would be really OP, but the more I think about it, Shaman's actually really great to play with Soul Assumption because you have a quick nuke that's pretty fast, good cast animation, that's always going to give you 1 charge, and your right clicks do like 100 damage.
Yeah.
I mean, you can very quickly get yourself up to 2 or 3 bars there on the Soul Assumption as Yuragi in a bit of trouble. Does Juke noticed, however, who's being slowed now by Seb's Arctic Burn. Yuragi will be able to actually sneak through the trees here.
Nice.
As Notice is being chased down by the skeletons with brown boots, though. He is going to avoid the buffed Splinter Blast.
Yeah. A little more projectile speed now.
Yeah.
Nice. They do think they can still kill Yuragi, but Seb is blocking that potential spear very well. You can still get the damage off, but you don't get the spear into the tree. So that's what Seb was doing. Really good positioning there, honestly.
Yeah, he even prioritized that over canceling the south. So you can tell he really wanted to make sure that this Wraith King can stay in lane. Getting this armlet online is a big deal. It really helps you fight versus the Mars.
Yeah, the helm is actually a huge component for this lane because the armor and the regen is already enough to at least tank a little bit of the God's Rebuke. You can still die because, again, this lane is so strong for BetBoom. But at least you'll be able to hold your own. You can actually go to the jungle kind of early this lane. It's tough because Mars is actually an easy tower pusher. Great stats, right? It can clear wave super easily. It's not the level of, say, DK, but you will take your tier 1 if you give him space.
There's Link level 2. It's Amar stealing all the damage from Soneko, essentially. And a TP is coming. It's going to be Force Major joining. Both mids are level 6 as Soneko gets off the Ether Shock, and that's going to be a kill onto Amar with Force Major rotating over.
I don't know what the right play here is for Amar, but if you study BetBoom, you know they're one of the earliest teams at making rotations, right? Both on their carry, on their mid laner. In this case, it was the 4. And I feel like with Razor, when you have one of these lanes, you just can't afford to play that aggressively, right? He is a good hero at recovering somewhat. Panselfield is a great farming spell, but you need some stacks for him usually, and you usually rely on getting a good lane to snowball, right? And the only advantage you have as an offlane Razor is that laning stage. And the fact that at 15 minutes or so, you're strong with or without items. Yep. So maybe they play around that timing and they just sack his late game as a result.
Nice move on a BZM. The silence to make sure he couldn't get the Arcane Rune. It actually goes to Force Major, who's one of the better early Arcane users as he spams out the spells, getting through the infused raindrops of Seb. BZM simply drops a Remnant and he'll be back full HP and mana, so that'll get Force Major to retreat. And this is something that this is why we always say it feels so difficult to draft against BetBoom because you have to, it feels necessary to ban these kind of cheese heroes. Yeah, bot lane.
What a shackles, by the way. Under tower, the Hex on top of that. Soneko gets the kill, an unsuspecting Nyx assassin, taking advantage of the trees nearby. And now with the Dream Coil from Laurel, who decided to join in here, they broke that static link immediately. That Dream Coil's keeping Amar in place. Now with the shackles, they make sure he can't go anywhere. His infused raindrops will be wasted and killed as Seb, the last victim of this engagement. They want the kill, and with the Hex, they'll guarantee it. OG lose 3 down ball.
Yeah, and BZM, he TPs back to the mid lane, right? As that's just a deny, quote unquote, by Soneko.
Yeah.
But BZM, he TPs back to mid lane, so BetBoom, they make that perfect play because they know BZM, he has to go back to his Remnant mid. There's no way he can fight them back bottom. That's the result of getting the Arcane Rune. Like, these small things, securing Rune gets you a triple kill in the bottom lane. Now you continue to hamper Amar's game that OG like to play around. Yeah. It's these small things really make a difference, and I think this comes from the fact that you get such a good matchup in your off lane. Skywrath Mage has been gone from that lane for about 3 or 4 minutes now, and Notice is still farming very well.
Yeah, he got an early game lead, right? He got enough items. He went for the phase boots and also the single bracer, which allows you to put a lot more pressure into the Wraith King. In fact, Notice, thinking of the pressure, he's just the 1 creep shy from level 6, tried to get it. But due to the cliff there, they stop him out. So clever here.
6 XP. 6 XP, Avo. He would have had it.
They glyphed the creeps just so he couldn't get it. That was on point by BetBoom. They definitely made that call. Well done, Notice.
Yeah, very, very well done. I think they knew Seb was going to rotate mid to refill the bottle, as he did, and Laurel's is going to secure the next power rune, Invis, for him. He's going to activate and TP back bottom where there is action.
Yeah, they're going to find Amar once again. No shackles, such a nuisance. Already level 3. He's going to stay there forever. Laurel is just going to body block, not even going to participate. He knows he can preserve his Invis rune here. Could he rotate mid for this?
He wants a +1. He was scouted down bottom, though, because of the sentry.
Yep.
And so it would be a bit of a challenge here to try and
There's also no boots on Laurel, so he takes forever to make it mid. And they snipe his courier. Nyx is nearby. A Taiga. Okay, he'll see where the puck is more or less. There we go.
Thanks to the courier kind of giving you like a sonar ping, basically, of information. But that is now going to be Amar's 3rd death of the game as they drop the snakes down bottom. Amar not even really that close to level 6. as the Fortify is going to be used. Amar trying to nuke the wave. 3 points here in the plasma field makes it pretty easy as Taiga is going to show up for the stun on a Soneko. Here's BZM with the rotation as well. Searing Chains, just level 1 here. Not enough for the kill. Soneko thinking about turning. There's the coil. It catches 3 into the shackles, trying to out-heal the damage. Not good enough, though, as the Hawk will bonk once, twice. The bells ring for Amar as he's sent back to the fountain. Laurel back onto Taiga with a nice silence. There's going to be an impale ready once he's not silenced anymore. He will make it up to the cliff. But it's still BetBoom getting the better of these engagements, as that's Amar dying basically 3 times in the last 2 minutes, it feels like.
Yeah, we did talk about Nyx being like really good at bursting on heroes like Skywrath Mage or Shaman, right? But when you have the lead, when you have the initiation, both of these heroes do have a no damage disable, right? In the silence of the Skywrath Mage and in the Hex for the Shaman. And by doing those, Nyx can't really do much in team fights. As long as they have vision, as long as they can determine when to fight, you're kind of just a walking ward.
Yep. And speaking of wards, the
there we go. See, Hex shackles again, but he shackled the Nyx a little bit too late. He got a Spike Carpus off, actually.
There's, what was I going to say? Oh, right. So the top tower was taken. Serpent Wards didn't get that tower, so it's at least a little bit of a win there for OG, as Seb is going to die here. He does at least secure space for BZM to get the haste from bottom, and he's going to look for the kill onto Laurel. With haste, this might just be about guaranteed, and he even commits the remnant to guarantee it.
Learn from your mistake.
Laurel will die here, which is a kind of a big deal for OG. They needed 1 kill, and to be honest, despite all the kills that BetBoom are getting, they're still maintaining farm, especially on BZM, who's leading this. So it doesn't actually look that bad for them. It does seem like they're being run over, which is true, but objectives haven't been taken yet. The Visage hasn't really popped off just yet, and it's just a bunch of kills on Amar, which, as I said in the beginning, is probably going to be sacrificed this game. They know he's not going to have a good game. In fact, he understands this too, and he's going for a Midas, which will definitely be a recovering Midas this game.
I completely agree with it this time around. I think that's kind of natural given the state of his game, making sure he can at least get his BKB on the rest of his items with reasonable timing. He can't be expected this time around with a Wraith King and an Ember to be given the luxury of space and farm. Normally, Amar wins his lane and then farms kind of, oh, I can't draw on the map. He farms in like this area for a couple of minutes to get his items. That's not the case this time around. His game has been very difficult so far. As the Serpent Wards are dropped mid, that'll rotate some OG heroes over. And speaking of rotation, Soneko is going to go bottom. I believe Amar scouts him, however. The Hawk with now brown boots and the drums is a bit speedier. He can move around the map as well, as the OG scan will scout this smoke. Courier on the high ground, not going to see anything, of course. Laurel still covered by the smoke with Blitz Knuckles and the ulti ready to play with. But OG not having that tier 1 bot lane are going to go ahead and just back off.
Yeah. When you take the tier 1 bot, EU teams do this the most, right? They take the tier 1 bot, try to dominate the triangle as a result, but it's just really difficult to do it early. Despite the fact they had a ward here, it still is a dangerous place to go into the high ground, right? Vision or not, because of the, you know, the way that you funnel into that area. And OG knows this, which is why they're protecting bot so much.
Shackles
Great
cancel.
Spike Carpus there, has Soneko. They're trying to cover him here with the familiars. That's not going to be sufficient. Soneko will die. And the Hawk even had the help of a creep. I thought it was a Helm of the Dominator for a second, but the creep just decided to join him.
Yeah, so that's a smoke. Not really quite going the way here of BetBoom. The thing with Mars is that depending on his lane, he is not the slowest blink buyer, but 13-minute blink is completely average for the hero. Pretty small, pretty big actually standard deviation because he does go mid sometimes, so it can differ wildly. Stats not super accurate, but for off lane Mars, it is quite average timing. He's not really going to be able to join the fights before the blink dagger, and getting farm for him top lane with his tower gone is a bit, you know, dangerous. So Force Major is currently top, kind of babysitting to make sure that they're not going to look for a kill onto the Mars. And that means he's not around to make plays bot lane, for example. So OG making very good use of the space he create top. As they will get the bottom tower themselves, but it looks like Notice is going to be able to get the last hit top and equalize tower pressure. Very, very interesting. I feel like we don't see this too much, where both safe lane towers are gone, both off lane towers are gone, and it's really only mid as the Hawk is trying to get through them with the familiars. He might end up losing them here.
I think it's worth if you can get a tower. No, he realizes he can't. He's going to lose him immediately, let him fail. And the Hawk actually re-summons them before they can get the gold.
Yeah, that's pretty crucial. They've got a fair bounty on these guys, and they're going to look for Roche, actually.
Oh, we talked about early Roche. I guess that's the advantage of the Shaman, right? With Visage is not that big a deal.
Yeah,
but
well, I think it's because they... Oh, wait, is he inside? No, he's not. They scouted Taiga coming out from Vendetta, so that does make the initiation a bit harder for OG. Like I said, pre-Blink Dagger, it's really just Ember that can poke and prod inside the pit. And, I mean, it's going down so fast, isn't it?
Especially because Amar went for a Midas, right? If you've gone for like a straight, even a single Yasuo caution or whatever would allow him to just run into the pit and try to contest this. I still think that would have been a mistake, though, so I do agree with the choice. They're going to play this safe. They know they have to get the first Rosh up, and it's given to Laurel. This team, BetBoom, is actually a team that I've noticed that is more creative with their who they give the ages to. They give it to their offlaner and mid more often than their carry, especially the first stages. And I think they really understand the first stage is for fighting, and they're going to abuse that a lot.
Yep. Uragi's farm is going to start increasing. Armlets is online. Deso soon to be completed. Of course, saving the point for the reincarnation if he needs it. And this is honestly, Avo, this is looking strikingly similar to OG versus T1 Game 1. The biggest difference is that OG was actually winning most of their lanes when T1 decided to make the Roche play with the Shaman. This time around, it's BetBoom who are still winning and also take Roche control pretty much uncontested. So I'm curious when OG decide that it's go time here and they look for a fight of their own. Seb is starting to stockpile the money. Again, this hero Wyvern can farm, especially with the Max Splinter Blast build. So Blink Dagger is going to be slow, but perhaps pre-20 minutes on the hero.
Yeah, the problem is I think they're really hunting this potential dead lane, right? He doesn't have the option of staying near the tower too much, as they now go hunting the enemy jungle, find Taiga, and even commit the arena just to make sure. Very EU style, right? Just kill him. Just kill him.
Just kill him, because honestly, even that one death might be enough for a mid-tier 1 if you wanted to make the push. It looks like BetBoom not really looking for it for now.
Yeah, it's tough because you know there's the Winter Wyvern here, and this mid lane is like the secondary dead lane where you can at least push it out and be useful without dying.
Yeah. We're still building a couple of items as Laurel is going to get found by Seb. I also hear a Hex down bottom, but it's just onto Uragi. Not much a Shaman can do there solo. Laurel looking to bully Seb. He's got plenty of damage here with the Witchblade, but can't quite threaten for the kill this easily. And instead, I think the action's going to be top lane, where they are looking for BZM. He's got a Remnant back, and he's chasing the creep waves into the tree. Force Major, Thumbler's Toy. Oh, he gets scouted, though, and almost killed. Orb of Corrosion and a Maelstrom proc. That's more than half of the HP of the Skywrath Mage with only 1 armor.
Yeah, very weak to the Spoken Prod. I mean, actually, both supports of BetBoom are very weak to the Ember Pokken Prod, right? As long as he plays super defensively, the question is who is going to be the tank for them? Probably the Wraith King. They just need a couple more items in Uragi to make that work, and I think the item they play around probably is Desolator. You could wait for the BKB. OG seems quite chill, though, right now. BetBoom is managing to put decent amount of pressure, but this mid-tier 1 still standing has given OG a lot of space to farm. Probably when it falls, and on a big item on the Hawk, which is the AC, we'll see some more aggressive smoke by BetBoom.
Yeah, that's BetBoom's timing. Right now, they're quite happy to just farm and play this kind of kill squad duo, right? There's a lot of potential here between Force Major and Noticed. OG certainly are respecting that, right? That's why Taiga is doing well to keep his distance. He's going to go for a little bit of an adventure, set up a little bit of vision here. Really, he'd ideally like to find Force Major. That's a much easier kill. Notice will blink back. Doesn't want to farm this wave out this far. For good reason. He knows that BZM and the rest of OG likely lurking in their jungle. Laurel now with bots. He's going to go ahead and smoke up. Sorry, bots about to be completed, that is. He's looking to go top lane. Dual Null Talisman and the Witchblade is plenty of damage, especially if you can land the coil onto BZM to make sure he takes it. Got a Remnant back, though. Yep, and he's out of there immediately.
OG, they're holding the high ground here, though, at least on the Nyx. This is more of a smoke-breaking high ground rather than an actual fighting high ground. A BZM, very interesting. He decided to play the dead lane most because they don't want to sacrifice their supports. Nyx covers him. That's the goal. Taiga will die. It's not a big deal. The whole point is that BZM can now could farm safely with a security that Nyx will die for him.
Yep. Skellies are going to be bursted by the tower down bottom. Laurel even's going to rotate on over. He knows Uragi's in the area. There is, of course, level 2 reincarnation, but Taneko as well is going to surprise him. Here comes Amar, though, only with the Midas and the Ogre Axe, as that might be the first life here onto Uragi. Amar not sure what he could do here, as Seb holding onto the Winter's Curse as they look for the second life.
Yeah, he's trying to run away, but the Dream Coil is keeping him leashed. He's trying to get out of vision here. God's Rebuke will break that coil as Soneko snacks the kill. Laurel wanted to go to the high ground. Seb apparently was forced to a low ground as he landed, but they didn't have enough damage or stun to cancel that TP. However, with a kill on the Wraith King, I think they'll be quite happy with that.
Yes, they will. They'll feel pretty peachy about that. Maybe OG thinking that BetBoom were going to stick around for the tier 2 tower push. That's very typical of the first Aegis usage, isn't it?
Yeah.
But again, BetBoom don't play very typical Dota.
And they just don't play like that with the first Aegis. It's really a kill Aegis. And you see what we just talked about, right? Mid-tier 1 went down, and all of a sudden the aggression by BetBoom increased. Why? Because now OG is forced to farm in much more precarious positions. No longer can you go into your jungle and feel safe. They've actually sentryed their own jungle just to make sure there's no aggressive wards, but they're even afraid to put a defensive ward here because they know it's going to be dewarded most likely in the next incursion by BetBoom. And this is where the map control starts to fall for OG, and this is where they desperately try to farm those big items, those last core items, to make sure they can at least win the mano a mano.
There's a lonely Kobold dig up from the ground. He's just waiting for someone to hit. Yeah, it's gonna be a while, I think, before anyone finds him.
Taiga, oh, he's been found. Once again, he was just scouting. The shackles are ready, and this time he knows he's gonna waste a little bit of the hex just to ensure there's no spike carpers this time.
Yeah, and that's the damage amp I was talking about, right? Ancient Seal on top of Witchblade. They're gonna smoke and immediately go top, though. I have no time to think about it. They really want to kill onto BZM. Yep. He's been quite patient so far, though, Ava. We'll see if they can get the jump.
They could potentially just try to spear him to the tree or spear into the arena as it goes. Oh, the leash is used first. Perfect. And with this, they can actually break it with the spear. They use the arena just in case, and that extra damage won't even be needed as BCM is destroyed.
Yep. That's pickoff after pickoff. The net worth lead, not too bad, though, really. Not really favoring BetBoom by much. AC is about to be completed, which means DeHawk is going to be more eager to join these fights. As we can see them actually group as 5, looking for a fight around the tier 2. If they can continue taking these lopsided fights, it's going to make it more and more difficult for Seb to be able to counter-initiate here. But he has got Blink, so this could be the moment. But for now, it's Taiga in trouble underneath the tier 2 tower as they commit the wards again.
Nice job.
So once again, just staggering these death timers here for OG. I don't know if they're keen on defending, but Seb with Blink seems like he wants to make a stab at it.
Radiant's middle tower has fallen.
It's gonna be Uraga who initiates, but immediately he gets speared.
Amar has BKB.
They acknowledge it's not the time to fight. The BKB immediately from noticed. He goes into the trees. They'll throw Soneko into the fire, but can he get away from it? Apparently, he can.
Nicely done, and that's one of the benefits of going for this new build right on Shaman 144. You just
what do you call it? The Hackles build.
The hackles. It's because really what you do is you hex and shackle and you just cackle at them. There's nothing they can do.
Yes, also because Shex sounds awful.
Yeah, that's true.
But that was a good idea from OG. They're playing around the BKB timing. That was the first timing they can truly play around. Now it's going to be Desolator as well for Uragi, but they're not even going to wait for it. Just go for this Amar BKB.
Yeah.
Make use of Razor's peak here.
They did get the mid-tier 1 tower as well, so BetBoom in that equally as precarious position where they have to look for farm in slightly dangerous positions. There's a blink on Seb. There's a BKB ready for Amar. Still 9 seconds. Mars no BKB for another 25. So BetBoom not really too keen on finding fights, but a nice job, Soneko. He scouted. Someone stole the bounty rune. They must be smoked.
Well, it's actually a really nice play by OG to smoke, because usually teams will just wait for that BKB on I was gonna say for the BKB on Ember because he's about to buy it, or even the Desolator on Wraith King. But because they play this aggressively and they understand that the relative strength of the Razor BKB is higher than what BetBoom can do, they force a awkwardish timing. And that means that now they're going to hit a bunch of timings and they're going to be the stronger team, and they take away map control from BetBoom, hopefully amplifying the OG farm. And you can already see a little bit of that effect by the 2k gold lead being reduced to 1k. That's the effect of the smoke from OG.
And speaking about gold, the benefit of Force Major playing this hero with an enabler that's the Mars, as well as picking up Philly Stone, a little bit of luck for sure. He's got a blink dagger himself. 4 blinks right now on
smoke
BetBoom.
there. And this on the stronger timing.
There's a DD in the river. Notice has to pick this one up, but he might die for it.
Oh, he might, but he activates BKB immediately. No hesitation. Notice gets away. But you saw this smoke immediately on the BKB on Ember and the Desolator on Wraith King. They'd have to fight. BetBoom can't keep avoiding them right now, but BetBoom is playing a really, really squirmish game.
Yeah, and they're underneath this ward. They've got a really good vision here in the lane. They've got the Tinker ward set up as well. DeHawk as well with great vision with the wingmen. And OG not keen to fight in that top area. They don't see anyone pushing mid or bottom. That's a little sus, as Laura will finally show in the bottom lane to clear the wave.
There's where the vision game kind of comes into play, right? Nyx, he's old school vision. Visage Familiars, that's the real thing right now, right? And it's very difficult, even though Nyx is a great vision hero, and so is to a degree Wraith King and even Winter Wyvern, they just can't beat unit vision. That's always stronger.
And actually, BZM, he knows heroes are somewhere nearby. Oh, he got scouted to Hawk, but he knew heroes were nearby because the familiars didn't have the buff, so he knew that they were elsewhere. Force Majors, he's got TP.
That's a good point, actually. Never thought of checking that, but that's clever.
You always got to check the buffs. It looks like Soneko is going to smoke the boys up as Roshan is available.
So what are they smoking on? Any big items? Okay, Blink on both supports, I suppose is partially it. The AC, which was
AC
somewhat recent, right?
It's AC. BKB's back for now. the Mars, 7-second duration,
True.
sure, but you get that's a big one here, especially if they can catch a Mar without his own BKB ready.
And noticed?
got vision.
There's the Amar! Quick jump from Soneko. The Hex is impeccable. And the Mystic Flare, not so much. Amar, though, will still die thanks to the
buyback.
Arena from Noticed.
He's got no buyback here as well. That is the wrong stat. He's short about by 1,000 gold. And that, I believe, will be OG having to give up this second Roche, pardon.
You know, actually, I think that smoke was because the Hawk was about to hit level 15. He just hit it, so it was perfect to actually get the kill and go straight into the Roche. And now this level 15, which is the minus armor of the familiars, allows you to take the Roche faster. But OG knows this, which is why they're going to try to fight this.
This is
Hex on
dangerous.
DreamOG.
Everyone in BetBoom has buyback. Everyone.
But they are missing two ultimates here, Mystic Flare and the Arena. However, Dreamco is still available. Seb has been killed off quickly. DreamOG turned into a chicken. But Soneko, he's going to suffer for this. He's being burnt down, Soneko. He knows he has to die. The Hawk takes the first life off of this Wraith King as the Spear finished off Taiga as well. DreamOG going back to the high ground. BZM activates his BKB. They're fighting near a funnel spot, but they keep the high ground vision, and that allows OG to at least retreat safely. Taiga will not be so lucky. He TP'd without any vision. He got punished for it. Force Major TPing in the same position, and DreamOG is ready to kill him off.
Yeah, he is, and now BZM with a little Spirit Bomb there finds the Hawk without a BKB of his own. He can't actually get the kill as that's a 3-man stun there on the Visage Familiar stun. The Hawk thinking about turning back on this. Mars with a blink ready to go. Arena and 15 more. Amar back alive, needs to Midas something, but most importantly wants to fight with this BKB. But OG cannot find the opening. With the Shaman and the supports naturally respawning, it's going to be advantage back to BetBoom.
Yeah, what a tight moment because both teams are hitting some pretty powerful spikes. BetBoom is, their window of domination is closing as OG's is opening as well. So these team fights is not easy to take. BetBoom understands that when they fight this Roche, yes, you can fight around your triangle, but because you're the aggressor, the moment that OG maintains that high ground, it's broken. And that's actually why you saw Force Major decide to go to the high ground solo as Skyreth Mage. They needed the high ground vision, but OG was ready to punish that. Really good movements in general. The positioning by OG has been fantastic here.
And basically a perfect opening kill. Obviously, they don't know that Amar doesn't have buyback, but the fact that he can't makes this fight feel really desperate for OG. Seb has to buy back, puts him really far behind, as they will go into Roche now.
Time to sneak it. Again, the familiars do have the minus armor now, so this Roche goes down to pretty much Shaman. There's some helpers here, but it's really just Shaman plus familiars.
Shaman, familiars, minus armor, yes. Laura will get that second Aegis. He'll be free in a second. He's got Blink, and it's going to be DeHawk who picks up the shard, allows you to give an active to the Gravekeeper's Cloak, and it's gives us a stun and a stone form and 35% HP recovery. Okay, top lane. The Tinker Ward pays off.
It does. And now they know, of course, there's a Tinker Ward there. As Force Mage, oh no, it was Dire Tinker? Oh, he just dewarded. That's why
he dewarded it. Yep, and unfortunately, that was a ward that could have given OG, pardon me, a potential window back in this game. Right, getting a fight off of a unexpected ward potentially here is could have been a moment.
Huge deal because Nyx doesn't have a way of getting vision up there, right? No, none of his spells get vision. If it was Seb, he could have dewarded it solo. So one of the tough things there, you have to waste the ward as the tower falls here for BetBoom. I'm pretty sure you can put a sentry in the high ground, right? Like here, and it gives you vision of this weird high ground?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, you can.
He chose not to because it's difficult to know where the ward is exactly.
Yeah, and they wanted vision there, right? We still we haven't seen one, but Winter's Curse is a thing that will wreck BetBoom. No,
True.
it's true. I mean, then everything comes together. The problem is BetBoom haven't given the prime opportunity, and this was my concern. They've always excelled at spacing and approaching these team fights from very awkward angles. It's not a traditional team fight in the way that they kind of line up and go in on a smoke. Laurel's always like somewhere behind. Notice is always making sure to jump the counter initiation. I mean, I would wager that this Mars damage after 10 minutes has mostly been onto Wyvern in these team fights.
You're right, actually. I think they understand very well. Also, Soneko being like a secondary initiator has given a lot of liberty to the Mars, right? Because it's his Hex that's actually starting the fight. Oh, there you go. Yeah, talking about it. It's the Hex that starts the fight. It just annoys the Wraith King, though. They do have high ground advantage, so they assume OG will back out, and they press this high ground advantage on BetBoom. But they know they also can't take this fight near the enemy high ground.
His Remnant's about to expire. It has actually expired, so he's going to have to TP out.
Oh, he revealed his position by killing the creep. Stream calls available.
Didn't see him. They just missed him. That could have been a really scary moment. I mean, worst case, it's BKB and leave, but because Puck is not 25 yet, but...
Classic BKB and leave.
Yeah, classic BKB and leave.
The Hawk does have the axe, by the way, no? On top of that Stormform, so he got his huge power spike.
Doesn't always go for it. Always go for it.
Especially with the AC build, right? With the AC, usually you don't actually see the Axe and the Hawk, but in this case, he finds it useful. Now you have tower push in addition to also great ganking.
And again, I think this is a lot to do with the fact that curse is really what you're scared of. Allowing you to approach these fights from wherever you please is going to make them so much easier as they see Seb. A good blink out in time, but Amar is going to be caught behind and pushed inside the Servant Wards. They need a little bit more follow-up damage, and Laurel there to silence Seb, immediately trapped inside the arena, but they can't quite kill him, so he's going to go inside the Cold Embrace as Amar kept alive is going to be able to get through Soneko, getting the BKB off Seb. It dies to the right-click damage of DeHawk, as that's only the first life down from Laurel.
Yeah, Uriah goes back in. He's hoping to at least kill Notice. He's hitting him from behind, but the BKB get activated by Notice. One last quick would do the trick. Notice tries to push him out, but in fact, God's Rebuke was more for the damage. And he does manage to kill off Uragi. He loses his first life. Notice is still alive. Another chasing after him. DeHawk is willing to go under the tower. Laurel as well, who phase shifts the stun, kills him with Waning Rift. And OG, they played that really well, honestly, because they thought, we have counter initiation, we have to force them into a wild engagement, but of course the Aegis made the difference there, and Laurel was capable of essentially playing as tank that team fight, and winning it for the team.
I mean, it's a costly push, and you can see how, I think this line here under Seb, it just kind of shows how stressful this game is for him. A lot of the team fights hinge on him, but BetBoom, they have 4 Blink Daggers and a Puck. They're always on top of him. He has no room to breathe, especially when the fights start off by them getting vision on you. These fights feel so impossible. BetBoom, they definitely recognize the strength of this. This is after the initiation, of course, where we get the second life and a great spear for Notice, but I mean, OG, yep,
Laurel?
there they go.
Yeah, he's currently fighting head-on, and this is not the play you want to make. Soneko came to help him with the help of Force Major as well. They might just be bleeding people here. Soneko has the Essence Ring, tanking a fair amount, but it will eventually fall. That Aether Shock actually worked against him as Force Major, next target, 1 second for the Impale. Force Major trying to flap his wings desperately, but they're not going to send him home.
Actually, I believe they buffed Impale. Yeah, the spike radius increased, so that'd be that buff coming into play.
Huge. I do love the...
I'm surprised it caught him, but 3 dead. 3 dead. Regrettably for OG, they're not in the Roche window. This would have been a perfect comeback moment for them if Roche was going to be up in this next minute. Unfortunately, it's going to be at least another 3 until we know. But it does allow OG to at least get some wards up, get a little bit more breathing room, and reset here. The net worth lead is not that dire. It's only 4K. The fights can be even. It's been Vision making the big difference so far.
Exactly. And the lack of initiation on OG, which we talked about in the beginning, right? They just can't set up fights easily, so they have to constantly bait Amar. And there's a really, really fine line between baiting and managing to get a good fight and, you're throwing the beginning, right?
Yeah, and I mean, it's a tough game for Amar, and I think the stat that's going to highlight that is that he had a decent, a slower timing, right, below average timing on BKB because his lane was hard, but he still had it around, I don't know, 22 minutes. That was the first fight he used it in, 29 minutes, first usage of BKB. It's not because they weren't looking for fights, it was just hard. Yeah,
exactly. They couldn't really initiate because you can only run at them. That's your initiation, essentially. Eventually, though, this is a little bit fixed by the itemization of the MA team, and they'll get more items, and also Wraith King can just jump in, right? That's going to be the play eventually for OG, as BZM does also get the Ags, a little bit more mobility for him.
There's a gem up for OG.
Yeah, it's on BZM.
And DeHawk as well is eyeing one, and he has one.
Yeah, he put it in his eye. Both but the supports, though, you can actually check.
Oh, can you do that now? That's amazing.
It says owned by
Beautiful.
Soneko.
Beautiful.
And then for the BZM one, it's owned by Seb.
So Seb really
owns him.
puts all of his money here into the Gem of True Sight. Of course, with the Blink Dagger, that's ideally all he needs.
It's like Dota marriage, really. When you give someone the gem.
So normally what we see Wyverns like to do, especially when they're not hard countered by like a Spectre, a Storm, or an NP, is they stand like way over here, and then they'll like force staff and then blink to try and get a curse here. It's really, really hard for Seb though, given that there's Silence as the Grave, there's Puck with blink and bots. Like there is just so much things that he's got to be concerned about here. I really think once we finally see a good Winter's Curse from Seb, OG's team fight is going to come together. Problem is finding it. Well, the problem is not so much finding it, it's making sure they don't find you first, really.
Exactly. Well, I don't know. I think there's a way where they find you first, but they find you how you wanted them to find you, right? There is a trap you can set here. I really do think that's what OG is trying to do constantly with Amar. It's just kind of difficult to know where the line is. It is a very difficult Dota to play. I mean, have we even seen a Winter's Curse, to be honest with you?
No, we haven't seen one, no. There's Refresher as well, finished, by the way, for Notice, as we start getting some of these later game items online. It's going to be the Kaya first for Laurel, into the Kaya and Sanj for a little bit more status resist. The Ag, Scepter, Ags, and Shard build here for BZM into Sight Device, which will make these fights a lot easier, actually. That's a source of initiation. So he is pushing this bottom lane. DeHawk giving chase. Now the full Boots of Bearing upgraded into Drums and Tranquils. Great item here for him. Science as the Grave, of course, he's invis. And BZM wants nothing to do with this potential puck, so he will remnant away. Any other key items I'm missing here, Abo? BKB?
Refresher on Mars?
Yeah. Said that one.
Okay.
Caught that one. Force for Taiga. Kaya, or sorry, SNY for Amar. He really likes it.
He's got it for a while. He is going for his own refresher. Maybe that's a key item you want to play around. Double BKB is huge. Again, especially if you're the baiter, what happens is if you manage to just BKB into the fight, right? And then you have a second BKB for the fight, refresher is going to make a huge deal.
Speaking of doubling things, Skywrath Mage X Scepter is actually nearing completion.
That's pretty great. Actually, that could be clutch. He's also close to level 15, which I would like to see Ancient Seal cooldown, because that's to 6 seconds. It's huge.
And here's the Roche window. OG very eager. They know that this is their ticket back into the game. 2 lives on 2 of your cores with 2 BKBs, et cetera, et cetera. It's going to be very difficult for BetBoom to kind of poke and prod their way through that fight. Unfortunately, they're going to have to wait another minute. Of course, we know this. The players have no idea. They just know it's in the window.
Yes. I see a lot of people being confused about that sometimes.
Yes. This doesn't show up when you play Dota. That'd be very strong.
Yeah. Though there are some things that you see as spectator, you're like, I've never noticed this in the game. Is it really there? Yeah, it is. I'm just stupid, right?
There's a lot of bugs, too, like Nyx.
Yes. Or familiars. Flying bugs, right? They're more like...
They're gargoyles, actually.
Gargoyles are bugs, right? That's where they come from. They're biblical bugs, like locusts.
Sure. Smoke play for BetBoom. Again, the net worth lead has been pretty much stagnated at around 4K.
Woo, look at him fly.
Will fly through the river. The familiars as well, even boosted by the familiar move speed talent at 20. Taiga is a prime hero to break these smokes with the jump. True sight's a bit scary. Amar this time gets off the BKB though, and there's a counter initiation. Notice force back with Seneko jumping onto Yuragi. As they do see Taiga, they're going to look and get through him first. Essence Ring won't keep him up, and BZM jumps the backline. Silence not going to do anything against the BKB, as he will at least cut through both supports. As we get into a new phase of the team fight here, both teams looking to counter initiate.
Taiga is going to be the next target here, and he's going to be the one to die as BetBoom. They want to poke and prod. They don't know if they can continue this too much. Dreamco has been committed, but they don't want to overcommit here. Finally, with a spear, they get a chance. Winter's Curse is available. We'll make the first usage. There we go. And the first usage is going to kill Notice, thanks to the familiars. In exchange for the Wraith King's first life, though, Laurel leaves himself close to Yuragi, who starts the BKB. He knows Soneko's a target. Soneko's surprisingly tanky, though. They need the help of Amar, and Soneko will fall. But Laurel hitting Yuragi a bit too hard. That combination of Waning Rift plus Steel Tsuyobi has to be saved thanks to the Cold Embrace, which will out-heal both Armut and the Witchblade. Laurel still looking to snipe him, though. Instead, we'll settle for Seb. Oh, I don't know about this one, Laurel. You might be punished. They break the Lincolns, and even though he got Seb, he loses his life for it, and Yuragi will get to live this fight.
Yes, he will, and I think that's a mistake from DeHawk. He ended up on the cliff because of Silence is the Grave. He was cliffed the entire fight, and all he could do was toss a couple of soul assumptions, in which is damage, but they were missing the auras, they were missing the right clicks. He couldn't resummon familiars that were on cooldown for a bit. As the second Roche now is going to be contested heavily here. Buybacks all around as Amar has BKB. DeHawk giving chase, and that's going to be the double Skywrath Mage ulti. Not enough damage. DeHawk gets off his Gravekeeper's cloak as Amar continues to stack up the damage. Notice as well is back. No refresh, but he's got an arena in a couple seconds as Yuragi goes up to the high ground with the spider legs. DeHawk continues to give chase as they have gotten through Amar. Laurel back onto Yuragi, who does have the reincarnation at the ready and is going to need it for his second life.
Here comes the arena with Notice, as you said. Second life quickly dealt with, and that's Yuragi losing all the advantage he kind of got in the last fight. The tips towards Sev here, as we were talking in the lobby about how they have him muted so he won't tip him, and now they're returning the favor. This is a free Roche here for BetBoom, unless OG wants to buy back, but this would be a really scary buyback to commit.
Yeah, especially without control of the outpost, you have to expect there's wards in your jungle after that fight, and given that there's, well, 4 blink daggers here for BetBoom, it's tough. And an Axe Blessing here. Maybe Laurel.
I think so, actually.
Laurel, yeah. Shaman Eggs, it's not that great, honestly.
Yeah, it's okay. If you really need to push, right? But I don't think it's amazing.
Yeah.
I do like the puck axe, though.
Got a remnant. Laurel giving chase, knows he's in the area. They see each other. The silence finds him. BZM holding on to the BKB, of course. There's no coil. He knows that. Yeah, there's no coil.
There's no coil. He's level 25, though. So now no longer can you do the BKB and leave.
Good point.
Yeah. So he's playing around the coil timing much more now. BZM will have to be a bit careful with that. But BetBoom, I mean, I think OG got a pretty good advantage once they started essentially proposing the team fights against Shaman first, right? They know Shaman is the key point, the team fight, and if they kill Soneko, pretty great. However, BetBoom has acknowledged this too, and they're starting to bait with Soneko a little bit more, with Notice leading the charge much more than Soneko. We're seeing less aggressive blink hexes, and Soneko is just kind of staying in between the fight, so you're actually forcing OG to overcommit. Yep. Also, his hex on Wraithing in the beginning of the fight every single time makes that reincarnation not so useful because you just get ignored for a while.
Yeah, it's not a lot of fun respawning into all this setup. Taiga's thinking about this, but he's the only one here, so just a bit of scouting. And unfortunately for him, of course, Laura's not the one carrying the gem. As top, Force Major is clearing a couple of waves. BZM might think about going hunting, but he's gonna just let the creeps do the work for now.
Basher on Mars, by the way. Was that what I just saw? Yeah. Okay. So now the God's Rebuke can actually do something against the BKB targets, right? I mean, it deals damage, but now you can stun. Yuragi's forced active BKB, does not want to die there twice. He acknowledged how many units are probably here for BetBoom.
Yep. Yeah, very much so, especially because Taiga has not scouted anyone down bottom, right? So they're able to make that play, at least some intel from this Nyx pick.
Fortunes change.
Soneko closing in on the BKB. They might look for Taiga, but I imagine he TPs here rather quickly, especially once he sees Soneko in the lane. The blink, they're going to go hunting. You know, Taiga did scout that. He saw the particles. Sentry, though, is there. The silence out for Taiga.
Mystic Flare is available.
Mystic Flare is ready. I think they just want Dahak. Hello, Dahak here. We're here to give you a kill, sir.
Oh, no. The supports deserve it, dude.
Okay, he's just there for the -5 armor. Take it.
I guess he didn't want to just waste the Mystic Flare. It's a lot of mana. So
Sure. Yeah, I mean, you got to be ready to fight now, right? You're with Aegis. That's what, like 750 mana right now for him?
Yeah.
Close. Not yet.
Yes, I think it's fine. You'll get the Sacrifice soon on the Hawk as well. That's going to give you a little bit more initiation here. Now double Hex. And also what this does is a little bit of chaos in the fights, right? Because you don't know if Shaman has wasted his Hex or not, which is a really big deal when you're initiating on that hero.
And a bit of a difficulty now.
Well, you should know if he has a cosmetic, actually.
Yeah, I think he's got the sheep.
Oh, okay,
so,
yeah. Never mind then.
Paid to lose cosmetic, honestly.
I think you still, it's like two different animations, I'm pretty sure, on the Hexes. But in the middle of a fight, it's kind of difficult to notice. You just think Hex, right? You don't look at the animal.
That's not something I've ever noticed, to be honest. But now I'm really curious. I'm going to test that in between games. Dahak up to the high ground here, where Sep does have vision.
Yep.
He's got his things and wards ready to scout. He's not making this mistake twice. They did catch him last time in a pretty brutal fight. Even disassembling the Arcanes, by the way, to go for the Aether Lens, just to increase his cast range a bit more. Also works with Blink, so he can stand a bit further back as he blinks forward now. That's a solo, which is on Dahak by counter initiation from Notice as he goes in. They're sapping the damage from Dahak, but he uses the Gravekeeper's Cloak active as the fight breaks out around them.
Yeah, Notice activated his BKB though, but that's the first BKB used. Now the second one, second arena as well. That gives Amar the time to use his own BKB. Cheese has been used by Notice, and that might not save him. Amar is going between the arena. He's gonna find the kill. Notice is dead as BZM chasing after the Hawk. This team fight seems over for BetBoom. I don't know if OG wants that though.
Not sure either. Still have that second life. That is a dieback by the looks of things here on the Mars. As Laurel actually going into more aggressive. Yagi right on top of him, point blank. That's the first life. Life for a life, Avo. As they'll both be responding. Yuragi first on 3 seconds into the stun for Laurel. Perfectly timed. Lincoln's wasn't ready. And OG was.
And here's one of the tricks that you can do with Impale or Ravage, right? You can't BKB off that. The Hex. The Hawk. He could be in a difficult position.
He's got
Yuragi
joining. Second.
There's the Shackle from Soneko. They gotta cancel it, but they get the Impale for Dahak.
He got the cloak.
It doesn't really matter, Soneko. You are going to die. Dahak is gonna be next. They all high-five him, surround him, and pummel him to death. So yeah, just to point out, because we've seen this a couple times, when you Impale or Ravage or these spells that go through the ground, right, and you respawn with Aegis, there is no time to actually use the BKB as long as the Impale's already in the air. And that's what we saw there for the puck.
Impale, Earthspike, and Ravage are these three kind of things.
Yes.
Because they literally travel, and they're kind of their own hitboxes. So no chance there for the puck. As OG going straight for the win. They know there's no buyback on the puck. The Hawk, though, can do what he can. Doesn't have familiars even, Avo. Not much of a hero, as that's 1 tier 4 tower crumbling.
And they're going for more. The throne's gonna be soon exposed. They kill Force Major. That's a huge deal. He has to buy back immediately, but 40 seconds to Lamar's. Soneko's not here either. Seb just broke the max because why not? The creeps are not gonna join him in pushing this out. They're gonna lose BZM, who is sitting the throne here. There's the Winter's Curse, and they're actually gonna try to get the kills. They're going first for the Hawk here, and if they kill him, it's over. They actually killed the last 2 remaining heroes for BetBoom, and they finish with style. OG, they waited a while. They survived the early onslaught from BetBoom. They never lost the advantage this game. They actually managed to maintain a good net worth the whole time, and towards the end they showed up and told him this is why tricore drafts work, because our late game is just better.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, Seb finds that two really fantastic Winter's Curses, and the fights fall into place for OG. It was really just BetBoom using their vision, using their mobility, and making sure that Seb was completely canceled, because without that, it wasn't easy for BetBoom, was it? But really kind of just dancing around them and exacerbating the lack of control and initiation. BetBoom, though, eventually their time runs out and Seb finds his mark.
It was fantastic. I really appreciate they understood that they only needed one good fight to win. They prepared for it, right? You can see the Midases, the way they played the early, the way they honestly sacked the Mar the whole time, which is why they're like, dude, it's okay. Your game was terrible, but you won us. You won us the game, right? And with this, OG managed to secure the first victory. And this guarantees upper bracket for them, because now Boom cannot catch up to them, or Boom is done because they have no more games. And Beast Coast, even if they 2-0 OG, they can't force that. Sorry, they 2-0 EG, they can't force that tiebreaker.
No, they cannot. So this is going to be then the upper bracket set for Group A. Only question mark here, of course, is going to be for who joins Boom in the lower bracket. That's over on twitch.tv/ESL_Dota2. Here on the B stream, we're going to be going to a short break quite soon, but when we come back, we're going to have BetBoom versus OG game number 2, aren't we?
Yes, very exciting to see that. BetBoom and OG now are just playing for, honor, for reputation, which to BetBoom matters a lot.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm very excited to get to that game too. So let's go to that quick break, and then we'll come back with a little bit more analysis of OG versus BetBoom.
You love it, you wear it. What's your style? Get your merch at shop.eslgaming.com.
We're here with game number 2 about to be started, and we're seeing some beautiful footage of now Stockholm at night. It is not nighttime right now.
It is day. Now it is daytime. The beautiful rivers.
And now it's panel time.
But now it's panel time, right? It's the panel time here for us as BetBoom and OG are going into game 2. OG, of course, taking that game quite beautifully, honestly. They stayed patient. They didn't panic. They didn't like go and smoke and look for these desperate fights. They knew that BetBoom wanted to approach these games a little bit differently and decided to just sit back, set the trap, and eventually it springs and works.
Yeah, I thought it was really clever the way they played that. I think the original idea of let's sacrifice your offlaner because we have a tri-core lineup. Someone has to take the blow. As a result, the way they played the team fights was really clever. The way they played around the map as well was interesting, right? In the beginning, when they lost all 3 tier 1s, that was the moment that BetBoom kind of set the pedal to the metal. But because they kept avoiding fights and because, again, they sacrificed them a little bit in these moments, they managed to avoid a huge disaster, right? And like I said, it's really impressive that OG maintained that net worth no matter what, right? Despite the fact that BetBoom was being quite oppressive in their play.
And for those Dota fiends that are watching us, as well as watching the other 2 streams, we do have a little bit of an update right after that game. What this means for Group A is that OG will now be joining Tundra, BetBoom, and T1 in the upper bracket. Over on the lower bracket, though, we also have a little bit of a developing story, don't we, Avo?
Yeah, it seems like EG won the first game against Beast Ghost, which puts him in a position to force those tiebreak against Beast Ghost. And from what we heard from our co-casters, it was not that close.
Yep, yeah, John and MOP, of course, are right next to us, and gave us a little bit of a heads up. This game, though...
Yeah, they come by, we give each other hugs, and
we give each other hugs.
Games.
Yes, it's good stuff. It's good stuff.
Yeah.
And, well, we are going to be going to game 2 shortly here, as game 1 was close and very tightly contested. I spoke and rambled a lot of the importance of Seb and his using of the ultimate, right? I believe we actually got to sit down, our content team, with Amar and speak about how it's like to play with Seb.
I mean, playing with Seb is actually good. Like, it's not like, oh, like he's an offlaner and he entered a new game. Like, it's like fine. Like at the start, it's like a bit shaky, but then it's all good. Like, we got used to him, he got used to us, and it's all good actually. Like, there is no problems with playing with Seb.
No problems, a bit shaky. I like how he says it's good. He was an offlaner, not taking my job, but it's okay now. It's all good.
Yeah, I think you can tell how young Amar is because he calls Seb an offlaner. You know? I mean, yeah, I know he won TI as an offlaner, but he was a support for like 8 years.
Yeah.
So, you know, and we went for a different name back then. Yeah.
That he did. That he did. I think he was mad that he had to change it, but Amar as well, probably a little bit upset, isn't he? ATF.
Yeah, because he also took Amar's fucking name. But yes, I mean, Amar, young guy, happy with himself. I think they're working nicely with Seb. Like I said, I think when you miss your strategic core and the Misha +1, plus Chuvashir, it's going to be a huge blow. No-till, of course, great strategist, but it's hard when you have to completely change the way you work, even if you're equal, right?
Yeah.
But it's been working nicely, especially for this game. I think playing these kind of games where you're on the back foot or either you like completely win or you have to play counter-initiating. This is what the original OG did really well, by the way. The 3 major OG was best known for always being able to turn around games. They were really good at playing from behind, and we kind of saw this in this game.
Yeah, perhaps that calming voice, that experience in those games, right, coming in handy here as they played it cool, calm, collected, and they make it work. I think something that's really unique, in case you guys have not read the origin story of this new younger OG, right? Amar got pulled in during the interviews, and I think he just straight up suggested BZM as they were teammates previously on the Chrysalis team.
Yep.
So, you know, the fact that I think it's important that those 2 guys are still playing together, and the fact that, you know, fortunately it's not one of those 2 kind of having to step out, means that I think a lot of the young core, a lot of the young energy, especially on like literally the cores in Dota 2, remains intact, right? Is also quite important.
And game respects game, right?
Yes.
And game recognizes game is the phrase. And the reality is that, I mean, at least when I talk to a lot of the younger players, they have a lot of opinions, let's say, about other players, and they're very vocal about it. And so something I've noticed is that I've had this situation before when I meet a player, he's like 18, 19, he's like, this player's absolute trash, and then a year later, oh, they're playing together, what a coinky-dink. Anyway, when that happens, of course, that creates a little bit of a fission sometimes, because you do not lose that idea. You don't think he's improved, it's just that you just think he's the best you can get, essentially. And that's never a good mentality for a team. So being able to bring teammates you respect, like in the case of BZM and Amar, because Amar did say that he wanted BZM to play with him, right? I think that really creates a good team environment and good team cohesion because you immediately already start as equals, or even better, you respect your teammates.
I like that. I like that about respect. I want to actually take a look at that and BetBoom, right, with Seneko, who had a reputation of more of an angry captain, machete puppy kind of era captain, right?
Yeah.
Has since mellowed out, has now just commanded the respect of his teams. I mean, he gets on the interviews with us and he is as cool as a pin, right? I mean, just no hot-headed, nothing there. I imagine having that calm voice in game, communicating in these hectic team fights, especially on like the position 5s he usually likes to play. Shaman, not so much, but like maybe like a Chen, right, is something. I have Hand of God, go in, I got you, right? Being able to kind of communicate that and the team respecting it and going in together and playing their different game, I think is something that makes a lot of teams, well, respect him, BetBoom respect the coach, but also a lot of respect bans as well for this team, which I think is going to be the interesting story as we prepare for our second draft.
Yeah. Very excited for the second draft, and that's why we're going to take a break and come back with game 2 between BetBoom and OG.